today's guest, Karen McGregor of Rock the Stage.
Sponsored by Jiffy Apps.
We're here today with Karen McGregor, and she's going to teach us how to rock the stage. Public speaking at its best, right?
Thank you so much.
So, tell us about Rock the Stage.
Sure. Well, as you said before, everyone has a story about how things come about, and Rock the Stage is a program for entrepreneurs to help them to speak from the heart and to be able to sell with that real integrity, to know that what they're offering is done in a way that is more of an invitation to their clients versus, going up and being robotic or perhaps even aggressive or too shy. And so there's a lot of things that go behind the fear of selling and the fear of speaking. And that's why I really created Rock the Stage, because so many entrepreneurs have amazing businesses, but they're stumbling over those two major fears, selling and speaking in public.
Yeah, one of the main things learning about entrepreneurs, when you talk about selling and marketing, all that stuff, coming from that into things, people have this idea of Joe's used car lot. I don't want to sell, that's slime.
Yes.
And that's what they have in mind. That's not necessarily the case. Like you said, invitation. So explain what you mean by inviting them.
Yes, so in Rock the Stage, what I have learned myself that I teach other people is that when I used to think about selling and being very uncomfortable, I had this idea that 90% of the talk was education, and I was really passionate about inspiring people and educating them about whatever it was I was talking on. And then the other 5 or 10%, a very small percent, I would have to jump into this sales pitch. And so that's why I was always uncomfortable with it, and it never worked for me, really. People loved me, and they said, "You're a great speaker," and put, their pats on the back. And that was, I'm sure a lot of entrepreneurs can relate to that we were appreciated, but not necessarily brings us the sales and the new clients and the visibility even that we really want and need in the world. So my story is actually kind of unique because there's 2 parts to it. One part where, which I will tell first, is really about getting over and understanding that this small 10% that we think we have to shove in at the end is really, it's not about that at all. It's really about an invitation throughout that is not in your face. It's a subtle invitation to be able to say yes to your program, product, or service when they already, the people out there, your ideal clients already want and need it. It's not you trying to manipulate or force or anything like that. So for years, I was under the assumption that I'd have to uncomfortably sell. And I was okay with having just small groups of people that I was working with and small groups of people in workshops and in selling things, just a few people, that would be fine. And it wasn't until I was invited to speak to 3,000 people at the P&E with people like Deepak Chopra and David Wolfe and a bunch of others that were really, quite well known in their field. And because I was a local speaker in Vancouver who was relatively well known for my work, they asked me to come and speak. And I was, of course, thrilled at the opportunity. So what did I do? I went out and I hired speaking coaches to up my level of my presentations, and I had all my marketing, and I really went to town on my website. So I had 3,000 people bought the program. And they bought my books, which is fine. But, it's really those programs that I knew that were going to transform their life, and the fact that not even one person had said yes, to me was the real shift in my life, because I knew at that point I would either just pack it in and never do this again, or I was going to learn to sell in a way that felt good to me and was actually in integrity with who I am, because I'm very heart-based and I really want to be able to be myself on stage no matter what part of the talk I'm doing. So with many different people's mentorship and different programs over 2 years and $25,000 that I invested, which I didn't really have at the time, it was a big leap of faith, I ended up just really learning the best of the best things to do to be able to invite people in a way that wasn't boom, educate, sell. It was this weaving of the two, and it was really beautiful to be able to have those. And then I thought, well, at the time I was offering life purpose and intuition development programs, and I thought, if people say yes to this and the things that I've learned, they say yes to because of the way that I'm doing it now, surely other people will be able to have similar results. So I did. I had amazing results. The same talk that I would give yearly, as an example, after having learned those things, the same talk which produced no sales 1 year, 2 years later, it was a 90-minute talk and we had $7,000 in sales. And that was all intuition development programs. So what I thought was, wow, so this could really work for everybody. But I kind of put it aside and I thought, well, okay, that's great. I'm going to continue on, and didn't think too much of it. But then my intuition clients who were entrepreneurs kept saying to me, wow, Karen, you have fulfilled workshops all the time, and what are you doing that we could learn to grow our businesses? So I said, well, I had a lot of training, and so I invited 3 different people to come and show my clients, some of the ways that they could improve their business. And ironically, all 3 of those people, and they were international speakers, were unable to make it. Some at the last minute, some, a month, 2 months before, but all 3 had to cancel. And so, being intuitive, of course, I said to the universe, okay, what's going on here? Because, 1, no problem, but 3, that's a little unusual. So I heard a voice very clearly say to me, you're supposed to do it, Karen. You have all the skills, all the training. I used to teach people in corporations to get over their fear of public speaking, and with my intuitive work and the heart-based work, and all of my help training entrepreneurs from the past, all of that was fitting in. And so when I heard this message, I thought, wow, do I really want to go that route? And I just got such a confirmation of it. And so when Rock the Stage was born, and the receptivity and the excitement that was produced when people started to have these amazing results and just have their hearts opened, and it was really exciting for me. Yeah, it was quite a journey.
As entrepreneurs, we all have that. No, that's just a sidebar. That can't be the real product.
Yeah.
And obviously, this show wouldn't exist if somebody had, my friends at Jiffy Apps hadn't said, you're really talented at this. Why don't you just go do that? And we'll help build everything out.
Oh, that's so
amazing. So that's how the show got.
Wow, fabulous.
So they're like a sound guy, right? Sound, marketing.
All these things, yes, and that's exactly what happened for me. And I didn't even realize it at the time that really so much much of this, everything that I had learned and taught other people, was all coming together. Because at first I thought, how is my expertise in intuition really going to fit in here? But it's amazing because people who are fearful of public speaking, they're used to getting tips like, maybe breathe deeply or look at the friendly person in the audience and just focus on them. And those things help, but there's a much deeper level to connecting with others that doesn't come from just the simple, basic little tricks and tools. And so with my intuitive work, I really get to the heart of what is the deeper thing that's going on for that person that really blocks and stops them from showing up fully in who they are.
That does make you very different than most speaking coaches.
Yes, I believe so. And it's really exciting for me because, the fact that most people are afraid of both speaking and selling gives me lots of opportunity and gold to work with, because what I always say to people is that you all have gifts inside of you.
Right.
And when we show up on stage, we usually show up 90% of us in one area of our gift. And so on stage we can see that someone perhaps is kind, or someone is really great at articulating something, or they're a storyteller. But what I have noticed is that there's other aspects of us that we can really bring forward, and they're already within us. But for some reason, we haven't really cultivated them in our life because someone told us it wasn't acceptable, or it wasn't okay to be this. And so that's been my journey with a lot of speakers, is cultivating that aspect that's already in them that is not showing up on the stage. And if they use it and bring it in and have this tapestry of different gifts that they have naturally inside of them, that's when the speaking really just explodes, and there's a totally different charisma, energy, connection with the audience. So it's I agree with you, it's a very different approach to public speaking. Yeah.
So I asked this of the last public speaker I had on. What's the largest stage you've ever been on?
That is 3,000 people, definitely, yes.
3,000?
And it was at the Peony. It almost seems like it's a whole mile long. When you stand on stage, it just goes on and on and on and on.
Was it outside?
No, it was inside, and it's so big that you can't see anything when you're actually speaking. So the connection that I would naturally have, as an example, with you looking into your eyes, is not there. And so the art of it is really to cultivate the connection in your heart, no matter where you look, to know that someone out there is connecting with you. And it's a beautiful feeling to experience at least a few times in a lifetime, to just feel them versus seeing them.
Right.
Yeah.
So do you figure out about this?
Not about speaking, but I have written 2 books. The first is a business book. So again, getting all of those aspects in about how I have come to this. I interviewed 37 entrepreneurs from across Canada.
Wow.
Yeah, and that was way back, I guess 10 years ago, and I was very fascinated to see what are some of the things that they say contribute to their success, and some of the things that have hurt them in the past. And so it was fascinating because I went across Canada and actually met with them. I didn't do phone interviews, although that would have been a lot easier. But I really wanted to catch their essence and energy by being together with them. And so what I found from that was that no matter what business we're in, there's always this commonality, at least it seems to be a commonality amongst entrepreneurs, that we care about the development of the business, even if it doesn't matter if you're, you have a business with pens and you're creating different pens or you're whatever it is. It doesn't matter. It's the idea that you're creating something from nothing, and that creation mode is what I also love to bring to Rock the Stage, is that when we speak, we are actually creating something that wasn't there before, and creating ideas, creating desire and hope that, a lot of people, Michael, they live a day-to-day life that's not being supported or inspired by people around them. Right. And so they just have little hopes and inspirations perhaps in their minds, but they're not actually experiencing it amongst the day-to-day people that they're with. And so I say to speakers, it's such a blessing that we can get out there and share something that maybe sparks somebody's heart, maybe has them think of the possibilities for their life. Right. And that to me is really exciting. Like, it's a beautiful thing.
Sometimes I think that's more important than the money.
Oh, it is, absolutely.
See that spark will have somebody.
Oh, yeah, and I think for me it is the most rewarding thing to know that two things, that someone in the audience has felt a shift. And they go home and they really think about it, and they can feel it in their heart, and they get excited. And the second thing is, as entrepreneurs, the products, the programs, whatever we're selling, the services, if we do a good job in inviting people, that has the opportunity to create lasting change. So that igniting in the heart, that inspiration, I love that it's there, and if they want to take it further and develop that, whatever that is for them, then hopefully the entrepreneur has this product, program, or service that will help them to develop that further. And that's where I come from in terms of perspective on sales. I tell the speakers all the time, if you come into the room and you think, I have to now sell to you, there's going to be that energy and that attitude, and there are very few results, and if they are, they're probably not your ideal client. But if you come in with an energy and attitude that these people are our community, I am giving education, I'm giving my inspiration, and I'm inviting you, if you choose, to come along that journey with me. And it's a very different way of being. It's a different energy. So it's like, I'm gathering my tribe. Whoever wants to come, I would love you to come with me, versus this, which is more of a, I'm going to shove this into you, and hopefully you'll say yes. Very different.
Sounds like you're saying, don't push your way, but all in.
Yes. Yeah. Thank you.
Best advice.
Best advice. Okay, so number one beyond anything else is to be real, to be authentic, to be yourself. And that takes, for some people, a lot, because they've got so much energy of anxiousness. What if I'm not liked? What if I'm rejected? What if I socially humiliate myself in front of people? What if I sell and they say no? There's all those things going on in the head. And so my best advice is to really take the ego thoughts and almost like visualize and imagine that it is a thing, a being, that's over here. And maybe it's your, friend from high school that used to tease you when you would answer a question in class, or maybe it's a teacher who humiliated you. Whoever it is inside, or maybe it's father or mother, who knows? But usually the voice comes from someone in our past who's told us that either we're too big, we're too small, don't laugh so loud, or, you're not smart. In my case, it was high school students telling me, you're not intelligent enough, you're stupid, and this and that. And so I believed that, and therefore never felt comfortable with speaking in public for a very long time.
Right.
Because that was a voice that kept coming up. You're not good enough, you're not smart enough, and so forth. So a big part of speaking is that awareness that voice isn't you, it's perspectives of the people from the past who've given you an experience that's less than desirable when it comes to voice and expression. So I would have to say my best advice is to be aware of that voice and to actually set it aside, acknowledge it, ask it what it has to say fully,
Right.
So that it's had its say, and then you just say, thank you. I don't have to believe my thoughts. I can have them, and they're really not mine, and I don't have to believe them. And then go back to the heart. Always come back to the heart, because the heart is a place of power, and focusing on giving versus how people are going to perceive you.
Right.
So that's the number one thing. And always, Michael, everybody's different in life, and we all come with different energies and special ways of being on the stage. And I work with that. I don't try to make someone be something that they're not, because that never works, ever. And you can see it on stage. So being really authentic, that's the main thing. If we can get to that, all of us can really get to that place. For instance, some people, the swearing, like people say to me, is it okay to swear on stage? And I always say, look at your way of being. What is your essence? Are you a fiery person who really needs sometimes to use the swear word to get across your message? Because you are this really fiery, like, I'm going to tell you now because I'm so passionate about it.
Right.
And some people, on the other hand, are extremely gentle, wise. They're like, they have this inner Buddha wisdom of, okay, I'm going to share this with you, and it's more of a receptive energy, and that would just not seem very, congruent.
It's
a match. And so I've seen really, really talented speakers who swear, not every sentence, of course, but when they do, it really works for them because it is part of their energy.
Right.
And so that's where I come from, is we're not all alike, and thank God for that. It would be totally boring. And so being yourself is actually the way to prevent boredom, because a lot of people say, oh, but I'm so boring on stage. So I look at them and I think, okay, what aspect is making this person less than, enthusiastic to listen to? And more often than not, it has nothing to do with their way of being. It has to do with them blocking a part of them that really they're holding back on.
Right.
Yeah. And so that's what I love to do, is to bring out those pieces that they're actually holding back from the world.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Contact information.
Contact information.
People gotta find you.
Thank you. So we have, of course, rockthestage.org. So rock, R-O-C-K, thestage.org, O-R-G, and we do have contact form there that people can fill out. And we also have my assistant Michelle answers our email, so it's support@rockthestage.org. So people can find us there, and thank you. Yes, and we would love to have inquiries and information sent to you. We have lots of free resources as well, because a lot of people like to experience us a little bit before necessarily coming into an event or connecting with us personally. So we're happy to send those out.
So since we are being sponsored by a mobile app developer,
Yes.
and you have such an awesome program, when is that mobile app coming out?
Oh my goodness. You know what? Good point. I would like to do that soon. Many people ask me about the app and they say, do you have an app yet? And I think that that's so integral into this kind of a business where people are like, rock the stage, I'm hearing all about rock the stage, and on social media we see lots about rock the stage. So absolutely, I'm going to have to connect with you more on that because we'd love to get right into doing that,
Awesome.
and having that available for everybody.
I think that'll take you to new heights.
Yes, yes, absolutely. Thank you.
Karen, it's been wonderful having you.
Oh, thank you, Michael. It's such a pleasure to be here with you today.
I'm glad we got it.
Me too. Thank you.
Thank you.
Please help us gain more sponsors by clicking the subscribe button now.